tendrils that you're seeing are hollow tubes, and each one is formed from a flat sheet of metal. So I learned how to make spiculums, is what they are called. This was kind of the start of my segueing away from being a goldsmith and being more of a gold and silversmith, and starting my own line of jewelry. This was back in 1984, maybe. It's a silver flower blossom with 18 karat yellow gold wire, and it's like a, what do they call it? I've lost the word. Fibulum, is that right? Where the pin stem is up at the top, it hooks underneath the petal of the flower, and it threads through your fabric. This piece I was working on while I was going to KU. I taught myself granulation, which what you see on the flowers are 24 karat gold beads that are placed, and then they're fused in place. And I fused them on sterling silver without knowing that you're not supposed to be able to do that. And so I started doing all my granulation by fusing on sterling silver. And so there are a lot of little beads placed all over each of the blossoms. And so the frosty part that you see, the top part of the flower, is sterling silver, but it has the fine silver that's been brought up to the surface that gives it that white finish. And the back piece is highly polished. It is put together. There are little model railroad screws that are soldered to the back of each of the flowers and then inserted through a hole and put together that way. So that got me really started on making a line of jewelry that I could then market through the American Craft Council shows, of which I started those in 1986. Whoops, let me go back one. So this line of jewelry came from the necklace, earrings, a brooch, a large brooch in the center, earrings on the right, and a smaller brooch on the left. And here you can see the granules better. And I chased little lines in the metal. They were all very freeform. I was doing a real stylistic idea of flora and fauna. And then I started doing some tabletop hand mirrors. And so the handle is another spiculum, which is hollow, and it's tapered on each end. And then I started doing a little bit more of the chasing and repoussé, of which I do a lot of now. The chasing part are the lines in the leaves of the bindweed. And then the bindweed blossom has been repoussé somewhat to give it more three-dimensional form. It's all sterling silver. It's maybe, oh, how big was that? That was maybe 10 inches long, 12 inches long. And wow. The mirror itself was maybe 3 inches in diameter. And then I did another one, had a grape cluster with some grape leaves and spiculum handle. And then as things progressed on forming things and putting things together, I started a line of Judaica, Jewish ceremonial objects. And this is a pair of Shabbos candlesticks that are used to open up the Sabbath on Friday nights. And the base, they come apart. If you put the base together, it actually creates a Star of David at the bottom. The branches are all cold forged. It's the same process as a blacksmith would do, only they forge hot and I cold forge. So the wire starts out a little larger, or quite a bit larger, at the base of the holder, and then I grade roll it through a rolling mill, which means it tapers it down, and then I forge it round because it actually makes it square. These guys are about 8 to 10 inches tall and the base I think is about 6 inches long.
Excuse me, Genevieve, what does cold
Yes.
forge mean?
It means that I'm using a hammer and I'm not heating the metal when I'm working it, when I'm hammering it. I'm doing it cold process, as opposed to a blacksmith putting the metal into the fire and then heating it up and then pulling out of the fire and it's hot.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. And this one is a menorah. It's pretty big. I think it's about 12 inches tall, big for me anyway. It holds 9 candles. The shamus candle in the center is the one that's used to light the menorah, each of the candles on the 8 nights of Hanukkah. These again are some Shabbos candlesticks for the Jewish religion. They are Jacob's ladder. It was to, in the Bible, it talks about Jacob having a ladder going up from a rock up to the heavens. And so this was my rendition of Jacob's ladder. All the ladder itself, if you look at it, you can see that from the base going up to the tips of the ladder, it tapers. And so that same process that I incorporated in these pieces where you see the little hammer marks on it, I did the same thing on Jacob's ladder, only then I took more time and I hammered, or planished, which is a hammer that has a flat face on it, and I planished all the hammer marks out and sanded it down and polished them high, so they're all just as smooth as they can be. These are probably maybe 8 inches tall. And then I was accepted into the Kansas City Jewish Museum's show. They used to have a show every year, and the year that I was accepted, this piece was used on their poster and for their advertising, which I was really, really excited about that and pleased about this. It's a pitcher plant, and in two of the larger pitchers, you can insert a Shabbat candle, which they're smaller than most candles are, so they can be inserted in there and used, or it can just be merely a tabletop sculpture. It's all sterling silver. The pitcher plants are hollow, and they're made again from the process called making spiculums. And I was only going to make 2, and I've only made 1, so I still have it. Okay, and then we come up, that spanned a time of from 86 until about 2000. And during that time, I made a lot of Judaic pieces. I sold a lot of pieces in the Jewish Museum in New York City. And there were several museums and colleges in New York that would carry pieces in their gift shop. And so I had a good run there for a while. And then I decided that I was done with the craft shows at 2000 and I was going to come back home. And so let me look at something real quick, guys. Sorry about this. I thought I had it arranged a little bit differently here. What happened to that? Well, I must have deleted a slide. So I'll talk about that first before we go on with the jewelry. So when I quit the American Craft Shows in 2000, then I came home and I was still just doing my own thing. And somebody asked me to start teaching. And I never in my life had even thought about teaching because I'm a self-taught artist. I don't have an art background. And so I said, well, I'll fill in until you find somebody. Well, here we are in 2020 and I'm still teaching silversmithing classes, or at least I was until COVID hit. And so what I would do I offered workshops with national and internationally known metals people, and I would bring those instructors in to teach their type of technique that they did. So that was still going on up until COVID hit. I was still having artists come in to teach. I have a small studio in my home. I have room for 8 students. It's only 400 square feet, but it's very sufficient and self-sufficient with all the tools that I've collected over time. After COVID hit, I started making a line of jewelry, which I haven't done much jewelry for a long time. I've been doing vessels, and I'll show you those in a minute. But this is a calla lily leaf pendant with a chocolate colored diamond and a little ant reposed on the surface of the leaf. The leaf itself is about 2 3/4, 3 inches long. And this is all of my pieces now are incorporating insects into the theme. And this little guy is a hemiptera, which is actually our shield bug or stink bug. And so I got enthralled with the little stink bugs that were always coming around the studio. I know. I really love bugs. I love insects. They're so cool. So I decided I was going to make some jewelry. And so on the front side, you see the wings of the bug. And then if you were to flip it over, on the back side, there are little legs folded in. I thought people would think it would be pretty creepy if I had a bunch of legs sticking out, and they probably wouldn't buy them, so I didn't do any legs on him. But his antenna are soldered to an 18-karat yellow gold bezel with a blue topaz, and then a small sterling silver branch that's been cold forged holds them all. And right where the antenna kind of loop into his face there, it's movable. It kind of swings back and forth. And this is a jewel beetle. And again, his legs are on the other side. It is fine silver on the body, argentium silver on the back, reposed, as was the hemiptera. Repose means raising. So I work from the back side of the metal, and I work in opposite. So what I see on the front is what you all would see. But when I'm working from the back, I'm working in reverse on my design. And so this is a jewel beetle. It's got 24-karat gold leaf on its wings, 18-karat yellow gold antenna, 18-karat yellow gold hooks that have been cold forged, a beautiful clear rutilated quartz cabochon in the center set in silver. And this one, I actually handmade the chain, which is a double loop and loop fused link chain. So I start out making all the little round rings, which are called jump rings. I make them out of fine silver. I fuse each one together, I shape them, and then I start weaving them together by hand. So this one took me a little while, but it turned out really nice. This is one of my latest ones. This is, again, the branches are forged, the neck piece. It is a moth that has been chased and reposed, and there is gold leaf and silver leaf on the wings. The silver leaf happens to be a pink color. There is a lavender agate that's set off to the left or just above the moth. And then there are podparasha red colored sapphires and some peridot, which are green. Where does this hook in? It hooks in, I'm trying to remember. I think it's up to the left is where the hook actually hooks over the neck piece, but it allows it to open up and slide onto your neck pretty easily. It's about 20 inches long.
That is gorgeous.
Thank you. So this is a bracelet, and I wear this one. I didn't have the, I wasn't willing to part with it. It is a Hercules beetle. And it might be a little difficult to see, but in the raised up area, there's his wings. And then if you look up towards the left, you can see 2 eyeballs, and the pincers are up there. And he's actually resting on an oak leaf. And there he is again, only this time I put some diamonds in his wings. It's got kind of a line finish on his wings. It's got 24 karat yellow gold leaf in the thorax of the body. And his pincers are holding about an 8 to 9 millimeter Mississippi River freshwater pearl, and it's kind of green. It's really beautiful. And there are two 18 karat yellow gold branches, cold forged branches that come off to the left and the right. And then there are some faceted praesiolite beads that are strung on 18 karat yellow gold. And the clasp up to the right has two little repoussé acorns with 24 karat gold leaf on the corn itself.
Hmm.
And then I got into making teapots, and I've had a really good time doing teapots. This guy is called Golden Bottress, and I have always had a love for mineral specimens and stones as a young girl, and that's where it kind of led me into the jewelry world. But this is, the bumps on the teapot are similar to bumps on a mineral specimen that is botryoidal in shape, and the botryoidal are the bumps on the surface of the mineral. And so I did I thought this would be really great to do. So I raised the body of the vessel, and I made that hollow bowl shape, which is kind of oval shaped. And then I did the repoussé of the bumps on the teapot, and I made the lid. I had someone spin the wood for me. It's Pau rosewood. I gold leafed the bumps, and you can see that the bottom of the teapot is not flat. So when you set it down, it kind of rocks back and forth. This one was a prize winner in the Sawbell International Award competition through Rio Grande, who is a supplier of materials for the jewelry industry and the metals industry. And so there was, I got beat out by a guy who did an exquisite vessel. So I was proud to be second place, but I was real pleased with that. And then this one actually went off to the Netherlands. I just got it back recently. And I feel like I've put on my big girl panties, because I was in with those big silversmiths from across the world, and this guy got in. And so I'm really proud of that.
Now, did you design the wood too?
I did. I laid out the design that I wanted for the finial and the handle, and the gentleman was so great to work with. And he was really ill, so I'm not even sure if he's still with us, but I sent him a picture of the finished piece. So he was just really fun to work with. He was great.
Is the pot silver?
It's sterling silver. What you see, there's some shadows there, that dark gray around the edge. It's not a great photograph in that respect. So it is the more bright, shiny silver. Yeah. And then I did another teapot, and this one is tree frog on a peace lily. And so the body was raised by hand, which means, if you're not familiar with the metals world, raising means you take a flat disc of metal and you start hammering it and forming it over what they call a raising stake. And I created this bowl shape, for lack of a better word. And then I was able to put my design on the inside of the bowl and repoussé it from the inside of the teapot, and then come back into the front and detail it, which is part of the chasing part of it. So the designs are very puffy and soft. They're not real defined like you're seeing here until I come back in from the front side and start detailing it and pushing metal back or pushing metal up under or whatever it is to create the design. The handle is 2 pieces of solid sterling wire that has been cold forged, and this one has been sanded, smooth and shiny. The top, the lid, has a dragonfly, that the body of the dragonfly was carved out of a silver rod, and his legs were made out of wire, and his wings were saw pierced, which means I have a piece of sheet. I drill a hole for each of those little openings in his wings, and I cut out each of those little openings with a saw and a tiny little blade. So each one gets cut out by itself.
How many
And it's
heads?
stir. I'm sorry?
How many heads are on that dragonfly? It looks like 3 from here. but-
It's these eyeballs. They got big
Ah.
eyeballs.
Okay.
Yes,
It
they have
does look
very
like 3
eyes.
heads.
Second time.
There's another side of it. And this teapot was done in brass, and there is some sterling silver on it. It was a perfect little teapot when I finished it, and I had some holes in the body, not the ones that you see. And I thought, well, I'm just going to go ahead and distress it even more to make it look like I intentionally did this. And I did, but I didn't start out with this vision of my teapot looking like this. But this one is called Life Struggles. And it just reminds me of when I finished this one and entered it in a competition. It was right when our government was changing hands and the political arena was really pretty crazy and raw. And talking about people losing their insurance or people of lower income not being able to make it because of this or that. And so this was my response to all of the rhetoric that was going on 4 or 5 years ago. And this guy is called Sumptuous Teapot. It has 6 S's in the very beginning because there is a python snake on the opposite side of this. And this one, actually, this one was a Saul Bell Award winner. The Golden Bottress, the very first one you saw was a finalist. I apologize. This one was the award winner. The body started out as a flat sheet of metal. I reposéed all the design in it, and then I formed it into a cylinder. And I cold forged all the wires. There's a hidden hinge down just to the back on the right-hand side. The lid, I hope I included another image with the lid closed, but the lid closes. And let's see, I think I have a picture of it. That's the inside.
Oh,
So
cool.
on the inside, I have a forged branch with an insect that's been reposé, and then the inside has been 24 karat gold plated.
So you whip these out in about a day, huh?
Oh, yes. Some of these, some go very quickly, as I'm sure you all know with your artwork. Some things just go along so smoothly. And then the other things, I actually have a piece that I worked on off and on for 3 years, and I finally got it finished. I was just having some problems with some of it, and I just couldn't. I've learned as I've gotten older, it's better to stop than destroy it. So, so I started a series of bud vases. I'm an old soul at heart because I just love the old Victorian age decorative objects, and I wish they'd all come back, but nobody can afford them. And so, there we are. But so I just make them and enjoy them. This little bud vase is no more than 7 inches tall. The base is about 3 inches in diameter. The front is the left side image with the dragonfly wings. I have a thing going here with dragonflies, if you haven't noticed. And taro leaves, which have been chased and reposéed. There's cold forged wires around the base of it to support it. The body of the vessel was chased and reposé. And again, these were done flat, and then there's a seam where I solder it together to create the body or the vessel. And then there's a lot of little planish marks on this one where you can see in the images where those little, it looks on the center image down at the bottom, you see it looks like dents in the metal where those are supposed to be there. And when the light hits it, when you turn it, it has little facets on it. There's a guy here in Kansas City, Monarch Glass, that blew the glass insert for me, and I'm just really pleased with all of it. So it's a usable bud vase. And this was the second one in the group, and this one is called Pond Life. And I've got a little sterling silver cast frog down to the left. I've got a water lily blossom and the vessel itself is resting on a lily pad, and then the cat tails and catkins are encircling the blue blown glass insert. And again, this is usable. The base on this one's maybe about 3.5, 4 inches in diameter, and again, it's about 6 inches, 7 inches tall at the most.
Beautiful.
Thank you. And then this one, this is my urban egret. She is a great white egret, and I decided to make this with her legs and embellish her toenails with some copper toenails. I asked my family, I said, what do you, excuse me, what do you think about maybe putting legs on this so it, you know, stands up? Oh, that's a terrible idea. And I've had nothing but laughter and rave reviews about it. I just love it. I adore it. It's just really fun. And then it's got a little fish on the back of it to cover up the seam, basically. And it's copper with sterling silver. And this is one of the very first vessels I did. It's copper with sterling silver. It is chased and reposéd. And I actually, this is a seamed vessel, but I did all of the reposé in the conical form that you're seeing here. And so I used a snarling iron is what it's called. And it's a long piece of steel with an upturned end with a small ball head on it. And you hit that as it's inside the vessel, it pushes the metal out. It's quite a crazy process because I do it by myself, and you really have to watch. You have to know where you're hitting, and it's pretty intense at times. So I've got an octopus, and then on the other side there's a crab and some seaweed. This one is about, how tall is that? Maybe 12 to 14 inches tall. It's gold leaf on the inside. And we're done. So thank you, thank you. My website is there, genevieveflynn.com, if you want to see more of my work. You can follow me on Instagram at Jewellerina Flynn. I do have a YouTube channel where I start posting a few of my process shots if you'd like to go there. And then there's my email address if you all would like to contact me for any reason.
Does anybody have any more questions for Genevieve?
Oh, that's awesome. They're
Well,
all
thank you.
beautiful.
I'll see if I can get back on the screen, if I can find myself.
Work with some very pricey materials.
Well, yes, material has really blossomed here since, well, metals have doubled
I know.
for silver, and it makes it really difficult to be able to even, well, I don't buy any materials very often anymore. I had enough inventory before the metal market jumped up. And so that's the reason I started doing some jewelry pieces, because it doesn't require as much material, and I still can do a few things. But I will not stop doing vessels. That's where my heart lies, and so I'll continue to work on those as well. Maybe just not as many.
Can you put your links back up?
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry. Let me see if I can. Let me find it. Here we go. And there you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are you in a gallery there in Kansas City, or?
You know, I am. Thank you for asking. Cerbera Gallery, which is down in the Crossroads. I believe he's at like approximately, he's 2011 Wyandotte, I think. It's Cerbera. I'm actually going to be he doesn't have anything physically in there at the moment, but as of Monday, I'm going to take some work in, and there will be a holiday show through February in his gallery. You have to make an appointment to go into the gallery, but he's accepting people in. And it's Cerbera Gallery, and Philip is the owner's name. But I will be in there with a ceramic artist and I think one other artist possibly for those 3 months. So if you're in Kansas City and you want to go take a look at it, definitely either give him a call and set up an appointment ahead of time. I imagine you might be able to set up an appointment online. I'm not sure.
I was wondering, what piece did you show at Kansas City Artist Coalition down there on, was it Wyandotte or something?
Trying to think, Gary, how long ago was it?
Well, it would have been a couple years ago. We've slept since then, I know. I can't think of it either, but.
I'm trying to think. It was the one on Wyandotte, you said? Their location on
Yeah.
Wyandotte down in the River Market?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've been in there. Oh
Yeah,
boy.
it looked like it was copper or something.
I think the last one that was shown there was the little urban egret vessel,
Oh, okay.
the one with the legs. And Sarah, I can't remember her name, but the museum, I don't know what to call her. I don't think she's the director, but she coordinates, she is over exhibits and such. She actually came in from Spencer Museum in Lawrence and juried the competition. And she's really enjoyed the whole, the whole exhibit was really nice. I think that's the one, because I think that's the last show that they actually had. That might have been the River Market Regional.
Thank you very much for spending your evening time with us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We love meeting you, and
Thank
appreciate
you.
Gary recommending you. So
Well, I
really,
appreciate
thank
it. It was a
you.
lot of fun. You're welcome.
I'm going to stop the recording. Whenever I get it figured out, we'll put the recording on YouTube, if that's okay with you, Genevieve.
Oh, yes, I'm fine with that. Thank you, though.
Yes.
Yep.
So people who aren't here tonight can see what they missed. and
Exactly.
Still learn about
Exactly.
your very interesting, talented work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have any other comments or?
I just wanted to say, she's kind of got a family affair going there. You want to tell about your daughter?
Oh,
Oh, yes, yes. My daughter, Marissa Stark, is the executive director of the Kansas City Artists Coalition. She's been there. She's been the director for the last 2 years, but she's been at the organization for the last 10 or 11 years, I guess. So she was given the position just before they were told down in the River Market that they were going to have to move. The building had been sold. And she, between that and a few other kinks, it was difficult. And then, they've had a lot of things going on, especially now with COVID. They just finished their first virtual fundraising event, and it was a fashion show. And so they had to figure that all out, and they've got their next big auction that comes up in February, which is has always been their big money raiser. But with the Coalesce event, which is the fashion show, it's held every November now. It was really creative because they shot. What they do is they invite 8 artists from the Kansas City area, and the Gown Gallery, which is a wedding gown and prom gown business, give each of the artists the same dress, and then the artists get to embellish it and decorate it in their style. And it is just really fun to see what these people come up with. And then this year, because COVID was not allowing people to come in person, they actually shot video down on Main Street around 19th and Main, and the models were out in the middle of the street, but they also shot them on the trolley, what is it, the streetcar.
mm-hmm.
And so it was really kind of fun to see all of that. But she's quite the girl. Even though she's my daughter, she's doing such good work for the coalition, and she's just a good person. So if anybody has any questions about the coalition, definitely talk to Marissa Stark. Thank you, Gary.
Anybody have anything else? Once again, we thank Genevieve. Wonderful.
Thank you. You're welcome.
It's beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hope to follow your career as you keep producing the work. So,
Well, I appreciate that. That would be fun. Okay. Well, thank you all. I'm going to leave and let you finish your business.
okay, I think we're pretty much through. Robert's ready to go to bed. No?
Aren't we all at this point?
So,
Well, thank you.
thank you. Does anybody
Uh-huh.
have anything else before we sign off here and I shut the meeting down?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, well, I'll get it on YouTube and put the address out there. Bill, you have a question?
No,
Oh,
No,
you
ma'am.
had your hand up. I
Okay.
felt like he's thinking.
no, I just keeping my head from falling down.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I wish more people had signed in, but I'm not sure if they just don't know how to use Zoom. I can't believe that these days.
Well, it's surprising how many people are intimidated by using it. And, you know, if you're not real computer savvy sometimes, and you don't have to be real computer savvy, but I've found through all of this that there are many people that were scared, you know, to come online. And I belong to an organization in St. Louis, and we've been doing all of our board meetings virtually, and it works beautifully, actually. You know, so you just have to get used to it.
By the way, board members, we will probably be doing board meetings in December and January through Zoom too, so you won't have to get out and about.
Well, you all have a good holiday season, and thank you again for inviting me.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I am going to end the meeting, okay?
Okay,
All right.
bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
Toodles. Bye, Robert.
Bye.
Holly, go outside.
What?
I said, go outside.
Go outside.